Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is MBS Fitness Radio.
What's up? We are back with MBS Fitness Radio, and I am here with the one and only Robby Watson. That was a pretty good voice right there.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Robby is a trainer here at MBS Fitness. You interned last fall or summer?
Last
fall. And we liked you enough to bring you on and train.
Thank goodness.
Yes. And so, Robby, man, give us your background. You're currently still in college and throwing discus and shot put at University of Memphis.
Yes.
Give us your training background. How did it all start?
So it started in Alabama. I was 4 years old. Started playing football. My dad played a little college ball.
At 4?
At 4. They threw for some reason in Alabama, they throw the pads on at 4 and send you out there. So I was running around.
You put pads on at 4?
Yeah, 4 years old, pads on.
That blows my mind because I have a 3-year-old. I'm like, zero
he's
chance
almost ready.
He would have any concept of what football would be at 4 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we did or not, but we ran into each other.
I'll tell you what, it's hard to beat a good Saturday with a couple beers and you watching what's a 4-year-old smack each other in football pads.
Yeah. It was crazy for sure. I think my only memory of playing football at 4 was like we played on a really crappy field.
Yeah.
And it had ant hills all over it. And I just remember running around, falling on an ant bed, and just like I could just close my eyes. I guess I'm just laying in it, and everyone's like spraying me with water to try to get them off. Miserable. But yeah, started playing at 4.
I love it.
So that's when the concussion started, I guess, which is why my memory's so bad now.
Have you had an official concussion?
No,
Okay.
I haven't.
Okay, gotcha.
Just repeated trauma, you know.
I got you. Yeah.
But so started playing football then, kept playing. I also played a little soccer.
Okay.
I don't know when I stopped playing soccer. I think I only played like 3 or 4 years, so probably from like 4 to 8 or something like that.
Okay.
Which is right around when I started playing baseball.
Okay.
And my dad was like definitely a football guy. Like he wanted me to enjoy any sport.
Yeah.
And he was there to coach in any capacity he could. He just liked being there.
Yeah.
And so, that was awesome growing up. Like he was always there at all the games, practices, whatever it was. And, that means a lot to me.
That's awesome.
And so, and during that time I was also like really into riding dirt bikes, go-karts, whatever it was, like just
being outside and doing guy stuff.
Yeah, anything crazy.
Okay.
So, so I moved to Georgia, and my dad was a pastor, so we moved around a little bit, as he moved from church to church.
Yep.
And that's when we moved to Macon. I was probably in about, I think, 4th grade.
Yeah.
And, it was a really cool time because I was able to play sports with all my friends. And, like, at 4th or 5th grade, like, no one can drive, obviously. And so we're all hanging out in the neighborhood, playing around. So we're playing sports officially at practice and everything. And then during the week, like, when people get out of school, like, we're all running around playing sports again. So it was, like, constantly, like, whether we're riding bikes or backyard baseball, football, whatever it was, we were always playing.
Outside being active.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
For sure. And I was homeschooled until 7th grade.
Okay.
So, like, I would finish my schoolwork at, like, 12 o'clock and just, like, sit there and, like, twiddle my thumbs until my friends got out of school and we could go play a game of baseball
I can't wait till 2. I can't wait till 2.
Yeah, exactly. Then, we get to middle school. Now, at this point, I hadn't done any sort of, like, lifting or got in a trainer or anything.
Just sidebar.
Yeah.
What kind of made y'all decide to change from homeschool to actually going to school in middle school?
So I think after 6th grade, that's kind of when rec league ends, at least in Macon.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to play sports. You have to be in school.
Yeah.
They have homeschool teams, but I didn't really want to be a part of a homeschool team.
I gotcha. Because how big is Macon, Georgia?
It's probably like just under 100,000.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
So, but my dad being a pastor, and he also grew up in Macon and went to the same high school, which was like K through 12.
Yeah.
that I was going to start going to. So we got a discount. It was a small private school, but they give pastors discount and alumni. So
very cool.
We had a good setup for that.
Yeah.
So 7th grade, started there, and I was always bigger than everyone else, and so football was kind of like easy.
What'd you play in football?
So I was always a lineman.
Okay.
For forever. I think I've run the ball like maybe 3 times.
Did you like being a lineman, or were you ever like, give me the rock?
I always wanted to run the ball. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's fun dominating people on the line.
Yeah,
you were a lineman too.
Yeah, D-line. But I started off at free safety and receiver.
Okay, so it probably sucked to kind of like go through that transition a little bit because, well, okay, D linemen and O linemen are a little different too.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you my football. So I didn't start playing football till I was a sophomore, and I had no idea what was going on. Like, I literally walked out to practice on day one, and they were like, "What position do you play?" I was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
And they were like, "You look like a free safety and a wide receiver." I said, "Sounds good." And like, literally, like, wide receiver was probably a better fit for me at the time because, like, I could just memorize a route tree and like just knew where I was supposed to be. But like defense, no one explained any of the coverages to me. So I remember being like, they'd be like, cover 2, and I'd be like standing there. They'd be like, David, move. I'm like, oh, okay. Like no idea.
Cover 2 what?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Yeah. No one ever explained it to me. That was like
that's awesome.
And so finally, like, I just was like, I would make plays, but I was like, I would either like make an amazing play or I was like completely not in the right position. And so one day my coach just comes over to me and he's like, David, you're going to come play defensive end. I was like, okay, what do I do? And he was like, if he goes this way, you go that way. If he goes that way, you go that way. If he goes this way, you hit him. If he goes that way, you pass rush. I was like, 4 things I have to do. Bingo. I was like, I could do that.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
That was like that was my transition. And it was the first time I actually felt like I was like, okay, I kind of know what's going on here. Because the rest of the time was just like, it was like me playing backyard football where everyone else like knew what was happening.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so you played in line, always a big dude.
Yeah, the only year that I wasn't the biggest guy on the field was when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if that's because like somebody lied about my age.
Because they really don't start playing football till 6
Yeah,
6 years
like,
old and making.
Looking back on it, that's really possible. But yeah, so I was playing line. 7th grade, we started lifting for middle school, and you know, I take that back. I actually started lifting, I think, a year before that. There was a CrossFit gym that one of my best friends, his dad was going to, and his dad was like, "Hey, y'all want to come lift?" So we were lifting. It was really simple. Like we would squat, overhead press, bench press, and I don't think we deadlifted though. I don't know why. I don't know if they thought the deadlifting would we would break our backs or something, but I don't.
So that was in 6th grade.
That was 6th grade. Yeah.
Now, was someone there like coaching how to do it, or you just kind of like just went to the gym and did it yourself?
There was a coach there. Mm-hmm. They weren't like right with us though. Yeah. So there's no way that I was doing anything right because I remember 7th grade football where we did have a coach. You know, the football coach was like on us. Not that he really knew everything there was to know about lifting, but or anything, but he knew enough to know that I looked horrible at everything I was doing, and that's when I knew like, okay, I thought I could squat. I'm realizing now that I can't even hardly squat the bar.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. And so, yeah, so 7th grade, played football, played line. You kind of go both ways there.
Yep.
Now, going into 8th grade year was when things kind of got fun because I think I was really that's kind of like when I really went through puberty.
Okay. And
so that summer, if you looked at a picture of me in 7th grade, like my football picture for 7th grade and then 8th grade, it's like 2 completely different people. And I lost some of my baby fat. And like that summer, I went to a football camp at Mercer University with my buddy, the same guy I was lifting with the summer before. And it was a wide receiver camp, but you could be a tight end. So I was like, that sounds like fun. I'll go be a tight end. And so I think we were the youngest guys there, but we got to spend the night and everything, which was really cool. And I was able to actually catch balls after that, so I came back to practice and like if someone threw me a ball, it was just like boom,
Yeah,
easy catches, and it's like I was like, this is the greatest moment of my entire life. I actually feel athletic. Like you start to see the gap that's not just size, but actually like athleticism kicking in.
Yeah,
and that was really cool.
Did they put you at tight end, or were they like back to center?
They didn't put me at tight end. Okay, I was still center, but I did play linebacker. And the whole entire season, it was the greatest thing ever. They were like, I just want you to blitz every single play, wherever you want. And I was like, okay. So I would just like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm going to blitz that gap. And I would just run as fast as I could. And I remember the very last play of one of the games, I was like, I'm going to go back like 20 yards. So I just backed up. And I was like, I'm going to time it right to where I can just be at the line at the snap.
Yeah.
Full speed, sprint. And I didn't jump. I just wanted to hit someone. So I just smoked the lineman.
just looked up.
And I'm there full speed. I was probably like 200 pounds, like 6 foot.
Grade?
Yeah, like 6 foot or 6'1".
6 foot, 200 in 8th grade?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, and so after that play, I don't even know I didn't make the tackle or anything. I just smoked the lineman. And you know how it is, like after a game, like it doesn't matter, like win or lose, you're kind of going to, especially in 8th grade, you're going to be like, oh, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Yeah.
You know, it's a team right down the street.
Yeah.
And the guy that I just smoked, like, comes up to me and, like, daps me up. And I look at him. He's got a bloody nose.
Oh.
And I'm like, kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
that's
8th grade highlight reel, you know.
There you go. I love the fact that you're like, coach, check out this new skill. It's like, that's cool. Go snap the ball.
Yeah, I didn't get to use it at all. But yeah, 8th grade was cool. That was kind of the time where like everyone's still playing football.
Yeah.
9th grade's kind of when people start quitting. They're like, I'm not actually athletic, so I'm not going to play.
Right.
So that was fun. And then
I don't want to get hit by guys who are 4 years older than me. Because in 8th grade, you're playing against 8th graders. In 9th grade, you play against high schoolers.
Yeah, you're literally 14 years old or 15, but a lot of people 14 playing against 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like there's such a gap there. It's ridiculous. But yeah, going into 9th grade, you know, I'm kind of like, okay, I've been the guy for a while.
Yeah.
And am I going to get to play, or is this like I'm going to have to prove myself? Yeah. And I think I'm always better when I have a chip on my shoulder, when I have something to prove. And I think everyone is. But going into that year, I was like, I don't think I'm going to get to play, but I'm going to work as hard as possible. I'm not going to miss a practice. Like I'm going to be there every time. And so we start lifting, and one of the football coaches, I guess 9th grade starts in the fall.
Yeah.
So we're lifting.
I get over the summer.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the timeline because I wrestled too. Okay, yeah. So yeah, summer before 9th grade, I guess we're starting, and spring. Okay, sorry, because I've got track in my head, and track is spring.
Yeah.
Football is a fall sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, the spring of 8th grade year is when we can start practicing with
9th grade.
Yes, exactly. So we're doing like agility stuff in the gym, and like they get the mats out, the wrestling mats before practice, and we're like rolling around and stuff. So it's kind of cool. And I remember he was a junior. One of the juniors he's like a dude at the school, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, Robby, where were you this morning? Because I missed a day because I had to do some schoolwork in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. He actually knows who I am and like cares if I'm there or not. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, now I'm definitely not going to miss anything.
Yeah.
Because this really matters. And at some point during that time, one of the coaches pulled me aside and was like, hey, like I need you to know that like we have you in the starting position on the line right now. It was left tackle.
Left tackle.
Left tackle. We weren't a passing team.
Okay.
We weren't passing. We were a triple option. So, but he was like, you know, like we have you starting. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. So I need you to like really bust it. Like you got to be the guy. You got to be a guy. And
you
I
got
was
to be
like,
here and get after it.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, like I got to do it then. And so, you know, that kind of gave me a lot of confidence, you know, that like they see the hard work. Nice voice crack. They see the hard work and that I was putting in and potential. So yeah,
that's super. It's kind of crazy that like now looking back on those types of those little tiny moments, which like as a coach you probably don't think too much about it, or as an adult, but like as a kid, like they are super impactful.
Yeah.
There's little like just a little encouragement here, or like I'm proud of you here, or whatever, and like like those stick out in my head a lot. And so like doing what we do here, I try my best to kind of like have those moments. And especially with with younger kids, especially if I have to get on to them about something, like I try to I get on to them, but I try to be like, hey, now come here, and we're gonna talk about why this is important. Have a little lesson here,
right?
So that because I like there's some moments that stick into my head that I'm like there were negative moments,
yeah, for sure.
That I'm like, man, like that my coach probably doesn't know, or whoever did it like probably doesn't know that it was such a negative moment, but like it was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely got some of those as well. Yeah, but during that time I was also I was still playing baseball. I guess I finished baseball in 8th grade. And I had just picked up track in 8th grade.
Okay.
So
stopped playing baseball, started doing track.
Yeah. Wrestled 9th grade. I was so bad at wrestling. Because at this point I was 210 pounds.
Yeah, so you're
okay, which means I'm in the 220 pound weight class.
Which is the top in high school, isn't it? Or is it one more?
There's like 260 or something like that. But the 220 class, there's two options. You're either fat or you are jacked. And I will never forget my first match. I wrestled this guy who was a state champion, of course, the first match. And I look at him, and you can see every muscle in his body.
Yeah.
And I look at myself, and I'm like, I don't see any. So we line up, and it felt like it was 5 minutes, but it was probably like 20 seconds. Yeah. And as soon as we start, my head's in the mat. I'm just getting dragged around, like my head's just dragging. And then I get pinned, and I'm like, okay, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
I only won 2 matches that year, and they were against the same guy. But they were like highlight reel matches. If you were imagine yourself wrestling, you're like playing, you're like, I'm just going to grab him. I'm just going to throw him, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was.
Your move was just to beast him.
Yeah. It was hip tossed him, which was freaking awesome. But if I was doing that to him, I can't imagine what the guy that beat me the first match was doing, because it was gnarly. But yeah, after 9th grade, I wish I would have kept wrestling, because I think it can build a lot of character for sure, and humility. Mm-hmm. It really shows you, like, it puts you in your place. Like, okay, this is actually how good you are.
Yeah,
this is where you stack up. But I quit after that. And yeah, so at this point, I was just doing football and track. I realized in 8th grade that I was actually like pretty good at throwing, because I think I started throwing because I liked it. Like, it was just fun. And there was no pressure. My coach, Dave Sparrow, was like super cool. He was like, yeah, come out if you want. Yeah. If you don't, like, that's fine. He wasn't even getting paid to be out there. He just liked being out there. And so I went to like the county championship, which was the top, which was whatever in middle school. Yep. And I won the discus, and I think I got like 4th or something in the shot put.
Nice.
Which I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. Go out there and like spin around in a circle and throw it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I think I'll keep doing this to get to hang out with my friends too. And so I kept doing it. Really liked throwing. I would go out there for like 3 hours at a time, just throw after school. Sophomore year, they moved me to guard in football. And the guys that I was super close to were a year and 2 years ahead of me. I wasn't really too close to the guys in my class. Yeah. And I don't really know why that is. I think like through my life, I've always hung out with like people a little bit older than me for some reason.
Maybe just super mature.
I guess that's it. That must be it. I don't know. I mean, wise beyond my years, I guess. But yeah, so moved me to guard. We had a really good team that year. It was a lot of fun. I say it was a lot of fun. Looking back on it, it was a lot of fun, but I know during it, I was like, okay, this football thing, like, it's starting to suck. Like, I'm not really enjoying this. You know, you walk into the locker room, and every day you're looking at the board when you walk in. You're like, what's it going to say? Is it full? It's going to say either full pads, shells, or shorts and tees.
Yeah.
And every single day you're praying shorts and tees, shorts and tees.
Yeah.
And every time it's not, you know it's not going to be.
Yeah, you're like, we're not doing shorts and tees on for Monday.
Right. You know it's going to be full pads, but your fingers are crossed. And I was just like dreading everything about football. But I was pretty good at it. I knew the team needed me, and I really liked the people I was playing with.
Yeah.
And so sophomore year, played football season, got ready for track, kept just training for 3 hours, not knowing what I was doing. And that year we had a guy.
Like you're doing it. You're training on your own now.
Yeah, it was
like,
just with the school.
Yeah,
just
okay.
with the school.
Yeah.
At this point, I was still doing like football, lifting.
Yeah.
There was no track lifting, so I was just like, just the football workouts. I think it was like just 4 sets of 12 through the whole year.
Okay.
And
like big lifts.
Yeah, 4 sets. 4 sets of 12 squat. That's all I can remember. I know we did RDLs, but it wasn't periodized. You know, it was just like spring practice, 4 sets of 12, and then it was like summer, 4 sets of 12. And so no one really got stronger.
Yeah,
we had some strong guys who were just like, okay, like country strong, I guess. Like they were just going to look at a bar and like it was just going to magically get lifted. But I don't think I really enjoyed lifting sophomore year. It was just like, I guess I got to go to lifting.
Yeah.
But we got a guy that transferred for football named Caleb. He was like 6'7", massive dude. And he transferred for his last year. So my sophomore year, he played football, and he signed to go to North Carolina. And he was like, and I also throw discus. And I'm like, oh, God, really? And so this whole time, like, I'm practicing, like, working my butt off. I'm like, I got to beat this guy.
Yeah.
And he's throwing further than me at every single meet. Well, I make it to the state championship my sophomore year, and I'm just happy to be there, you know. Like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he's there, too. And I remember
and he's the same grade as you, or he's older?
He's 2 years older than me.
Gotcha.
I'm a sophomore. He's a senior. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we throw, and I have no idea how, but I caught one in the disc, and it goes like 145 feet, which was like 20 feet over my PR. And that put me in third place. And I think he ended up getting like fourth or something. But I was like, I called my parents right after it. I was like, you won't believe what happened. Because they didn't come, because I was like, I'm just kind of like happy to be here, you know. None of us knew like that this was really a thing, I guess. You know, it's just track. And I call him like, I just got third place.
Yeah.
I don't know how it even happened. I get to go up on the podium, get a medal. Like, this is incredible. So that is really what sparked my love for throwing. Before that, it was just fun. And now I'm like, holy crap. Like, if I got third, not knowing what the heck's going on, who knows what I could do.
Yeah, it's like you realize your potential.
Yeah, exactly. And so coming off of that, of course, I didn't throw anymore until the next season, you know, naturally.
Yeah.
But let's see. So that's when I noticed my potential. It's my junior year. The guys 2 years older than me that I'm close to are gone.
Yeah.
Now I'm a junior. I'm close with the seniors, and none of us really liked football. Like we did it. Like, I think all of our personalities like won't let us not go 100%.
Yeah.
Like during the moment, obviously, like before and after, we're like, oh my God, and then it's like down. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm going to give 100%, but we didn't like it. So I think the culture on the team probably wasn't good either.
Yeah.
The leadership wasn't passed down, and I'm not blaming the older guys or the coaches or anything. It just like
sometimes that's the way it goes.
Yeah. And so we just went out there and played, and that's the year I got moved to center.
Yeah.
So freshman year, tackle, then guard, and now I'm at center. And my next door neighbor is now the quarterback.
Okay.
Which was really cool, because growing up, we played on the same football team. We played backyard football, and now now I'm snapping the ball to this guy every play.
Yeah.
And so we play. I hated it. Whatever. Football season's over, and I think it was during
What
that.
did you hate about it?
I'll tell you exactly. I volunteered to be out there. I was good.
Yeah.
And when we were, I think it was pushing sleds that really like triggered it for me, or like made me realize, okay, this is terrible.
This sucks.
Like I'm pushing the sled. If I'm on the far left side of the sled, okay, and when freshman is on the far right side of the sled and he sucks,
Yeah.
the sled is going to turn.
Yes.
Okay, everyone knows this.
Yes.
I know this. The coaches know this. But when we turn the sled and we get yelled at, and I'm like, what do you? If I don't try, I'm going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
If I'm not here, I don't get yelled at.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be here. You know,
Yeah.
I think I just started realizing like, oh, I don't really have to do this. No one was putting pressure on me to do it, but it was just like something I had done since I was 4.
Yeah.
So I just did it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a testament to the necessity for good coaching. And I don't mean good coaching in the sense of skill. I mean good coaching in the sense of like young adolescent men development.
Yeah. I think that's probably fair. And I loved, especially my line coach. I think the biggest thing was those older guys leaving, and I was just like, well, I mean,
myself.
This kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's not, our group is dwindling, I guess. And so, yeah, you know, I got through the season or whatever. And it was good. I got like all region or whatever. That year I had to play both ways. So I did play some D-line.
Okay.
D-line was a lot more fun than offensive line because I actually had like an objective other than, okay, I just got to block this guy. Like it was like, okay, I'm going to rip this guy's head off and I'm going to try to rip that guy's head off. Yeah. And that was really cool. Another thing I hated about football was, and this is going to sound bad because team sports are great. Being on a team and like working together is great. I think it's awesome.
If everyone's great and awesome.
But when I block the nose guard and I put my face mask under his chin and drive him straight into the ground, I'm like, that was awesome. We have to, like, this is a touchdown. I'm in the end zone, and I look back, and our running back's 5 yards in the backfield.
And you're like, what the heck happened?
I'm like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, that's really selfish. I just didn't like it, I guess.
Not for everybody.
Yeah. But
you did like.
I did like track, and it was during that time when I was like, hey, Dad, I hate football. I don't want to play in college. Because before that, I was like, okay, I'm going to play college football, and then I'm going to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay? That was like all growing up for sure. And I was like, Dad, you know, I don't want to play college football, and I also don't want to pay for college, and I think the whole thing is a scam. So I think I'm going to go to trade school after I graduate. And he was like, because I watched like some Mike Rowe videos, you know, the Dirty Jobs guy, talking about going to trade school. So my dad was like super supportive, and he was like, okay. So he talked to one of his friends. I think they had like worked together when building the church. Mm-hmm. He was a contractor who like started out as either a plumber or electrician or something, and then he started his own business. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that seems really cool. Dad was like, I want you to talk to him sometime. And so I was like, awesome. And before I got a chance to talk to him, I remember I was at a Florida State football game with one of my buddies, and my dad texted me and was like, hey, check out this website, and it was called Throw One Deep. And I was like, okay. So I went to it. The website was terrible. It looked like it was from like 1999, but they did throws coaching. Yeah. Okay, and I was like, okay. And I guess this is like in the middle of the football season when this happens. So my dad was like, they have a team, but they also do like practices on the weekend that are open if you just pay for them. Okay. But it's in Marietta. So that's like an hour and a half. It's like right above Atlanta, hour and a half from my house. My dad's like, they do them on Saturday. So I'm like, okay. So we have Friday night football games. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to get up Saturday morning, which it feels terrible waking up the day after a football game. Yes. And I'm going to drive up there and throw. And so I was like, okay, I'm down. Let's do it. And then I think the first Saturday came up, and I was like, oh, Dad, I don't want to go. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Next Saturday, I'm like, oh, Dad, I don't think I want to go. And he's like, no, we're going to go. Like, you're going to get in the car. We're going to go. I slept all the way there. I got there, and this was a moment, like, I thought I was good at throwing. Mm-hmm. and I get to practice, and I see this guy's name's Isaiah Rogers. He's still throwing in college right now, and I see him throw a shot put further than I even thought you could throw a shot put. And I was like, okay, what do we have here? Because if this guy's doing this, like, I now want to know what I could do.
Yeah.
And so we practice. I do that for a few weekends. The coach there, his name's Coach Mike Judge. He's pretty well known. He's coaching at Kennesaw State now as well. And we still keep in contact and everything. But a few weeks after doing that, I was talking to my dad, and I guess my dad asked him how we can be a part of the club, like officially on the team.
Yeah.
And he was like, told him how much it costs, and he was like, give him a few more weeks, and let's see if he has what it takes to be on there. Anyway, I joined the club, and I start driving up there every single weekend for Saturday, Sunday practice. So, like, I would drive up there, stay at someone's house that night, go to practice, go up there on Saturday, practice, stay at someone's house, practice again on Sunday. This was every single weekend until I graduated high school.
Yeah.
So, for my parents to trust me to drive through Atlanta as a junior in high school.
Stay the weekend, every weekend. It's,
right.
Yeah.
That was huge. But that was like, I don't know, that was huge in my life. Like, it's a huge time commitment. And it took a lot of, hard work. I had 0 weekends free. There was none. I almost didn't go to prom. Like, I almost was like, I'm not going to go to prom, because I was like, I want to get better at throwing.
Yeah.
So why would I waste my time doing that?
Yeah.
So at that point, I start training there. They put me on an actual program.
Lifting and throwing?
Not my junior year. I wasn't lifting with them yet.
Okay.
Just throwing with them. But the throwing was periodized. So, our throwing in the summer looked completely different than our throwing in the spring right before training. Right. It was like, okay, that's cool. I thought you just grabbed it and threw it all year.
Right.
So yeah, Coach Mike was like, he's very hardened, I guess you could say. Like, he's not going to take anything from anyone. If you show up late, he's going to treat you, he's going to tell you you can leave. Like, you're late. And late is like, you could be early but still late. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're here 5 minutes early, but how long is it going to take you to warm up? Are you going to be ready to be in the circle at our practice time?
Yeah.
He would do that to me, but he would also do that if an Olympian came up and they came at the same time. He would tell both of us, you can get out of here. You can go. And just no problems. He was kind of like a you either love him or you hate him kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think, I've got a good sense of humor. I don't take myself too seriously most of the time.
Yeah.
And so, like, when he's just ragging on me, I can find, like, some, like, joke or, like, something to say to get out of it, to, like, deflect it onto someone else. So we had a really good relationship, and yeah, it was awesome. That junior season, I threw the shot put and discus at state and won both of them.
So you won state in both as a junior.
Yeah, as a junior.
Nice.
I was in a position, you kind of know what people are throwing. You can see the numbers. So I was in a position that I knew that I could win in the discus. The shot put I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I threw a PR, and it was electric. Like, there's a picture of me and my dad, like, running up and jumping and hugging each other, and, like, the coach coming up and giving a big high five. It was a great moment. And yeah, so one state, and then now there's some summer track meets and stuff that are kind of like, okay, you won your little tiny state meet. Now let's go compete against guys from out of state.
Yeah.
And so, like, from a big fish in a small pond to, like, a tiny little fish in the biggest pond, a good perspective builder, though, for sure. Like, when you think you're something.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, wait a second. I'm throwing 160 feet in the discus, and there's like 5 guys throwing 200 feet in the discus. And, like, okay, the work isn't done yet. Like, there's still so much that I could gain. And my desire was always to be the best. Like, I've never been satisfied in anything I do and not being either the best or my best.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on my attitude. Like, sometimes I want to be the best, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I just want to be, like, just my best. Like, my potential, I just want to reach my full potential. But yeah, senior year, I decided to quit football.
Yeah.
And that was probably that was the first like big decision, big conversation in my life.
Yeah.
Because I had actually been like having meetings with the quarterback, my next door neighbor, and the head coach, like every Wednesday. This was probably for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And we were talking about leadership. Like we were kind of being like, he was preparing us to like take over and like lead the team. I think he probably saw the leadership deficit the year before. And he's like, we're going to establish this now.
Yeah.
Do it the right way. We had a book and everything. We were filling it out. And so it was awesome because every Wednesday he would bring us lunch. We would go sit down. So like we'd be eating like Zaxby's or something. But about 2 months into that, I was like decided I was going to quit. I told my dad. That's the only person I told. And I texted my coach and was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you tomorrow." And I remember he texted me like 3 times in a row. He's like, "What's up? You all right?" And I was like, "No, it's all right. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Everything good?" I was like, "I can't tell you now." So I roll up in his office at lunch and I told him, "Hey, I'm not going to play football this year. I really want to focus on track." And he was like, I don't remember the full conversation because it seems like it was a long time ago. But I remember a few things. I remember him telling me that you couldn't get a scholarship in track. He told me it was going to be the biggest mistake of my life, and I was going to regret it forever.
Yeah.
And there was not a single positive aspect of it at all. He told me that coaches want to see multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So he was just telling me all these things, and I was just like, I was like, "Coach, I don't even like football," And he was like, "Well, I don't know if I believe that. All the other coaches, like, we all think you love it." I'm like, I must put on a really good show because I hate this. But yeah, so I quit. That was a hard conversation. I walked upstairs to the lunchroom. I don't know if I told someone, and then it was quickly like wildfire. But I remember walking outside after lunch and like saw the running back. Like he wanted to play college football, and he did. He went to go play at Stetson, but he was sitting on the sidewalk like crying in his hands. And I was like, "Oh God."
Oh gosh.
I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I don't know what to do. Like I don't know what to do about this. But yeah, big decision, big conversation. It was tough.
Yeah.
But
so then what happened your senior year for track?
Senior year. So I don't remember when I signed, but senior year for track. So long story short, I kept training hard, did everything that I was doing before, every weekend. Probably started partying a little bit more with my friends. And sorry, Mom and Dad. And I got to state. I was throwing a lot further. I got to state. There was another dude that was throwing pretty far too, and I had always beaten him. I was really trying to break the state record in the discus at the state meet. Mm-hmm. So trying super hard. I fouled every throw except for one, which was like a super easy throw that I took. Threw like 168, and got second place. So when I should have gotten first by a while, by a good distance, but because I was like
going all out, you
failed.
It.
Just not what I should have been doing. But that was probably good for me. Another reality check. I think reality checks are probably a good thing. Got second. The shot put was like an hour after that. Ended up winning that one.
Okay.
So it was a good learning experience to like feel like failure and then be able to like recover and bounce back and like and win. I signed to Southern Miss, University of Southern Mississippi. If there's any prospective college athletes out there, like high school athletes looking to go to college, every single team is going to tell you that they don't have much money and they need you to sign early. Yeah. Every single school is going to tell you the same thing because they want you to sign early. I signed early, and I think God puts us on paths that we're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
And so I did what God had planned for me. But if I could go back, I think I would spend a little bit more time and let my coach at Throwing Deep help me with the recruiting and where I was going to go.
Yeah, but just like someone's offering me a scholarship, sweet.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, Southern Miss, the way I chose was terrible too. It was Southern Miss, Gardner-Webb. I had been talking to Samford a little bit, and that I think that was it for early signing because my PR was like 168 in the discus and 53 in the shot or something like that.
Yeah.
So those numbers aren't that great, and that's what they were judging it off of. And so signed early to Southern Miss. I think mainly because it was the biggest school that offered me.
Yeah.
And I thought all my friends are going to see look at this.
Yeah.
He signed to like a decently big school.
Like a D1 big school.
Yeah. And that's if I could give any advice to people signing, do not let that affect your signing because once you get there, it doesn't matter at all. None of it matters. I met a lot of really awesome people at Southern Miss though, and I wouldn't trade that. I had good and bad experiences there, and I wouldn't be sitting in this room right now if I didn't go to Southern Miss.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that opportunity. So yeah.
But eventually you ended up transferring to Memphis.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I got to Southern Miss, and one of the first things I did, I was probably by that time I was 270. Mm-hmm. And I had squatted 500. I could hang clean 315 for 3 reps. My bench press had gone from 245 to 305. This is when I got on the actual lifting program for the first time, and my lift shot up.
In college?
No, this is high school. This is senior year.
Okay.
And so then I came into college with those numbers, and the first thing that the coach had me do was lose weight. And so I got from 270. I think my lowest was 238.
238 for
in the first semester.
Throwing?
Yeah, and the implements get heavier too. So I got weaker, lighter.
Why did you have you do that?
So I don't really know.
Okay.
I don't know, but I wasn't. It was definitely I was losing weight through not eating. I was just I would go and be
hyper dieting.
I didn't know what healthy was either.
Yeah.
I didn't know what healthy eating was. I was just okay, if I go and eat and I get a burger and put some spinach on it, then that's healthy. And as long as I don't eat the pizza and the fries, I'm probably good. So I was just eating probably 1,500 calories a day, maybe.
Yeah,
and
still probably not awesome stuff.
Yeah, right. And I was also training harder than I'd ever trained before because our conditioning was crazy. So I got a lot weaker, which meant that my throws weren't going to go as far.
Yeah.
And so that was really frustrating. I'm trying to demand the most out of myself, and I'm not achieving what I think I'm capable of. And so first year was hard. The summer after that is when I got into lifting, really.
Okay.
I got on a program with my buddy Noah Groover. Shout out Noah Groover. And he told me to shout him out. So
all right, there you go.
Give him a shout out.
Perfect. Shout out Noah.
Shout out Noah. But we went back to the high school and started lifting there. I was really frustrated because I saw on Instagram all these people that went to college and got stupid strong, and I was I'm getting weaker in college. So that meant that I was I have to train my butt off this summer to make up for that. So I got on a hybrid performance method program because I probably saw it on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
And it was their hybrid. It was just their hybrid program. So it was a little powerlifting, bodybuilding, weightlifting. It was all mixed in there.
Yeah.
And we did that for a while, but we really liked the Olympic lifts. We didn't know anything about them, and we sucked at them really bad. But so we switched to the hybrid weightlifting program.
Okay.
And we both got super into that. And so that summer, I definitely felt like I built a lot more strength and definitely better technique with the Olympic lifts. Sophomore year, we were doing a lot of Olympic lifting at school.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. My squat wasn't really going, my strength lifts weren't going up. At this point, I couldn't bench 305. I think I failed my sophomore year at 275 in the bench press a few times. And I'm trying to throw shot put.
Right. So that's kind of a pretty direct carryover.
Yeah, right. So that's the frustrations were there, and the frustrations were also in the circle. The coaching style was very different than my coaching style in high school.
Yeah.
I was also immature.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. It wasn't always the most professional, like, coaching, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't think things were going great there, so I decided to transfer.
Yep.
That was the second hard conversation I'd ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Had to go talk to the head coach and tell him, hey, I think I'm going to transfer. And his first question was, is it the coach? And I was like, you know, like, I don't want to bury anybody. So I'm like, no. He's like, what, is it the school? You don't like the school? And I was like, no, but, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like pillows, soft padding.
Yeah.
And so he was like, look, dude, I'm a grown man. I've been doing this for a while. Like, you're good.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you need, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
So he released.
It is a coach.
Yeah. He released me, wasn't angry. And I still see him at meets all the time. And like, we'll go up, he'll give me a hug. If I'm just standing there and I don't see him, like, he'll come up behind me and like just grab me. Like, super nice guy. But yeah, had a conversation with him. He said, you know, let's probably not tell your throws coach until after your last meet. That way I don't want it to be awkward at practice, for one. Also, I don't know if she'll let you come practice.
Yeah.
So let's just wait. So I was like, okay. So what ultimately led to that decision to have the conversation was a week prior, I talked to one of my old teammates at Throw One Deep, and I was like, what do you do? He throws hammer. He's really good. He's like third in the world right now. He's awesome. But I said, what do you work on? Like, what are you trying to do? He gave me two things. And I was like, okay, that's all I'm going to do this week. Me and my teammate. We're like, that's all we're going to do. I had been throwing like 53 in the hammer. Mm-hmm. That week I didn't listen to anything my coach said, like not a word. I would just be like, yep, yep. Mm-hmm. And I worked on those two things. And the next meet I threw 59 meters.
Oh, wow.
And I threw it like 5 or 6 times at that meet. That jump doesn't really happen ever. And so I was like, I've got to leave.
Yeah.
So
this is like, I'm not getting the most out of this.
Yeah. For sure. And so I left. It was really hard to figure out where to go because.
So you just knew you were going to transfer. You didn't know where.
Yeah, you can't. I think the rules have changed, but at the time, I couldn't talk to coaches.
Oh.
And I don't really know how. There's a transfer portal that I'm sure you've heard of now. I don't know if that existed then. It might have, but I was pretty much on my own.
Yeah.
And I think my dad was able to email coaches.
Yeah.
But I couldn't until I was released. So it was like, okay, is there anywhere to go if I tell my head coach, hey, I don't want to be here anymore?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a leap of faith because my throws weren't great.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how I ended up at Memphis. Like, I really liked the coach, Coach Robinson, but like I had so much anxiety and stress, like those few weeks trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never felt it before. You hear people talk about it, but like when you feel it in your stomach,
Oh yeah,
and you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no control over this. It hits a little different.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, but thankfully, Coach Rob took me in. He brought me over here, and yeah, been rolling.
Love it. All right, we got to wrap this up. Robby, what's one piece of advice you could give for any other like high school or college throwers?
One piece of advice. I think the mental game matters a lot more than people give credit for. So if that means there's a great book called Mind Gym that's helped me a lot, and I think a lot of
like GEM or GYM?
GYM, Mind Gym. I think especially in a sport like throwing, believing in yourself consistently and believing that you can do something matters a lot. And it's not buying into something matters a lot. So working on your mental game, I think, would be the advice I would give to most people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Not just the physical in the gym, in the on the track, on the field, but also like getting your mind set up as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Very cool. Robby, thanks for coming on, bud.
Thanks for having me.
All right. MBS Fitness Radio out.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.